Once again, we are back on Boond Soch ki ttalk train of thought with a series of an episode on financial aspects with Professor KV Ramakrishnan, who has been there into an RBI, Reserve Bank of India, for 22 years and was a general manager at STCF Financial Limited, which is promoted by Reserve Bank of India. In the first episode, we had interesting insights from Professor KV Ramakrishnan about how he did his BSc and then went ahead with his LLM and how it navigated further. Sir, once again, welcome to ttalk Boond Soch.
Yes, my pleasure, sir.
In fact, 22 years in RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Can you share some experiences with our target audience so that how you have navigated while being on the job so that target audience can draw some meaningful learning out of it?
Yeah, so basically what happens is the function of a central bank. It's a central monetary authority. So what happens is its main functions are to issue notes, control and regulate the external value of rupee, and also to regulate the credit system of the country. So the main aspect here is the interest rates. So central bank actually controls the interest rates in order to control the liquidity in the economy. So I was concerned with this monetary function, and then I learned the nuances of it in the domestic environment as well as the global environment. We understood that inflation can be imported into the country. You really may not have inflation, but a foreign country will have a lot of inflation, and all that inflation gets imported here. So that way, what happens is it has an impact on the value of your rupee. Mm-hmm. So the function of the central bank here, to put it very bluntly, is to intervene in the forex market. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they buy and sell the foreign exchange in order to increase the reserves of foreign exchange or to reduce the reserves in the economy with a view to protect the external value of rupee. Mm-hmm. One mistake people they normally make is they think that central bank actually targets the rupee. That mm-hmm. central bank feels that today rupee should be 79 and now 78. No. What they do is, see, market is the king. Mm-hmm. So what the central bank actually does is it smoothens out the volatilities. Mm-hmm. It doesn't actually play with the target rates. It smoothens out the volatility and it is actually with the market. So whether it is supporting or encouraging the exporters or importers, it has got a monetary role to play by way of exchange. Then new notes. It brings out a new currency into the country, and the quantum of currency that is brought into the country is dependent on your what you call your growth. Mm-hmm. What is the actual amount needed in the economy? Mm-hmm. What is the GDP growth rate? And mm-hmm. based on that, there is a certain calculation based on which they actually issue new notes and withdraw the old ones. Mm-hmm. Third is your credit. So actually they control the interest rates. So if the inflation jacks up, then what happens is central bank immediately increases the interest rates in order to increase the borrowing cost mm-hmm. for the borrower. So that if the borrowing cost increases, the borrower borrows less and he does less business. Mm-hmm. So the growth rate goes down. This may appear very bad to the layman. Why a central banker is saying growth should go down? The reason is that first inflation, then growth. Mm-hmm. If there is already inflation in the economy mm-hmm. and growth takes place, that plays havoc in the economy. Mm-hmm. So this the central banker has in mind. So his target is always to control inflation, and the government's target is to encourage growth. So these two things go hand in hand. Mind you, this is tightrope walking. It is not at all an easy function, but that the central bank with its ingenuity and skills, it plays in the market.
I see. Now, in fact, 22 years in Reserve Bank of India, and what are the challenges you have faced to upscale where you are today,
Right. So upscaling challenges are, one is all the regulatory functions. For example, if you take the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, earlier it was regulation. From regulation, it had to be brought to from control. It had to be brought to management. Mm-hmm. From the regulation part, it had to be brought to management part. Meaning is that 73 we hardly had any reserves. Mm-hmm. India was not a country. Up to 1990, our reserves were not very high. Mm-hmm. And person who was taking foreign exchange abroad, he was subject to a lot of restrictions. Mm-hmm. So 1990-91, when our reserves sunk to an all-time low of just 2 weeks imports, we mm-hmm. just had that much of reserves. So that time, thanks to two of our stalwarts, one is Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was the finance minister, and Mr. Narasimha Rao, who was the prime minister. They brought in a lot of reforms. Reforms mm-hmm. means what? They encouraged a lot of inflow of foreign exchange to the country. Mm-hmm. Indian economy opened up. We were like in a cocoon, we were in a closed economy. We opened up the economy. Foreigners were allowed to bring in money both by way of FDI and FII into the stock markets as well as into the businesses. Mm-hmm. And then the country actually started prospering slowly. but surely. And today, thanks to all that, our reserves from few lakh dollars, now we are set with a reserve of about $600 billion. Okay, so that's the kind of improvement country has had. So the challenges were one, from control to management. Number one. Number two was computerization. So all the things were going on in an outdated way. So computerization was a challenge. So now all the areas are computerized. Not only that, you will find that India, compared to other countries in the world, other countries in the world might have gone ahead of India in the earlier times. But now, during the last 5-10 years, the rate of growth in the fintech has accelerated so much that maybe we are number one or number two as far as the growth in fintech is concerned. So these were the challenges that we had to now adapt to technology.
I see. Then how you got a shift from RBI role to as a general manager at STCF?
Yeah, so this was by chance actually. What happens is the performers are always located. So they thought that I was a good performer, luckily. So I mean, you had a pension for working very hard and then delivering the things, etc. So hard work was in my in my blood, as well as to gather knowledge. So these were identified, and they chose me in 1993 to set up an institution which will activate the secondary market in India. A secondary market in the bond markets. So bond market had taken a beating after the Harshad Mehta scam. People lost actually trust in the securities, government securities and the bond market. So that institution had to be set up in order to activate the secondary market in government securities as well as corporate bonds. So that started in 94. The operation started in full swing. So we also learned a lot. So from the roles. From regulator role, I'm going to the operator's role. Now I'll be a part of the operator, and then I'll be subject to regulation of RBI, although I am from RBI. So 96, 97, 98, I was under deputation. Then they gave me a chance to move into STCF permanently, which I accepted gladly. And then I rose up. So treasury was the main function. Treasury activities, buying and selling of securities, then subscribing to the auction conducted by RBI for selling government bonds. So that results in price discovery in the market. So we had a lot of role to play, and then fund management.
I see.
And then all these activities actually gave me a lot of growth and maturity. And then into advanced markets. At the same time, I was also learning the systems in other parts of the world. Every now and then we had the opportunity to go to central banks, etc., and then learn on that. Which opportunity doesn't come to everybody normally.
Correct.
So central bankers are only allowed into central banks.
No, in fact, the target audience who are listening to you on this ttalk platform, maybe in the while working in that particular sector, there are a lot of opportunities which are there. It's how you grab those kind of opportunities. Now, in fact, in central banking program, like you have gone to Bank of England, you have gone to Reserve Bank of Australia, then you have gone to the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Is that like you took initiative from your side, or it came with your performance?
Yeah, this came with the performance, and the central and the Reserve Bank of India deputes officers to various central banks to gather their experience from those central banks, because they also have we actually follow the English model, but then there are advanced things which they have inculcated that we have to develop. And then Reserve Bank of Australia, which was totally on a different league, they were targeting cash rates, etc., not exactly the bank rate. And then Monetary Authority of Singapore, which was very good in risk management systems.
Correct.
So we could learn various aspects of banking and finance, and it was really an eye-opener for development of finance in our country. So we could contribute to finally the development of our own financial sector.
I think, in fact, we are fortunate to have Professor K.V. Ramakrishnan on ttalk show. Exclusively a story of Professor K.V. Ramakrishnan on this show. I'm sure he had a rich experience of 40 years. And down the line, if many of the practitioners, many of the MBA students who would like to make their career in finance, I'm sure there's a series of episodes what we're going to have with Professor K.V. Ramakrishnan in clearing all those relevant doubts and the opportunities which are there in relevant portfolio of finance. We're going to catch up with him on next show. If you like Professor K.V. Ramakrishnan, please go to www.ttalk.net, subscribe and like the channel as much as you can, and catch up with Professor K.V. Ramakrishnan on ttalk Boond Soch ki next episode. So thanks a lot for being part of this show.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.